Lacey Schwartz is a 37-year-old Harvard-educated attorney, proud to be both Black and Jewish. But what's also striking and very unique about her personal history is that until she went away to college, she thought she was white.
When it came time to apply to college, I had to check a box. The only box I had ever known was white, so I just didn't check anything. And based off a photograph, I was admitted to college as a Black student. And I was afraid of not being a part of the world that I had grown up in anymore. If I could have done...
We're very happy to welcome filmmaker Lacey Schwartz to Arise America. She's here in our New York studios. Hi, Lacey. So nice to meet you.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Oh, my gosh. What a fascinating story you have to tell. So as we just said in the intro, people getting a little bit of the snippet, you thought you were white and Jewish your whole life until you were accepted to Georgetown University, and they accepted and sent you a letter from the Black Student Association, right?
More or less.
Okay, so when that happened and you began to delve into, okay, am I not what I thought I've been all my life? What'd you do next?
Well, and just to be clear, there was definitely a lot of questioning beforehand. I mean, that wasn't a singular event. I was very aware of my difference and how I looked different from my family growing up. My parents split up when I was 16. And I really started questioning things. I dated somebody who was biracial. So a lot of these things put it into question. So by the time that letter came, I was kind of almost ready to try it on and get some answers.
In some ways, was it sort of like a confirmation? Or?
A little bit, yeah. And I didn't at that point actually start identifying as Black, but I was able to kind of be a part of the community for the first time without actually having any real claim to it. And so I went home at the end of my freshman year in college and finally asked my mother, why did I really look the way I did?
And she said what?
And she told me that my biological father was Black. She had had an affair and no one had ever talked about it.
My goodness. When you heard that, how did that hit you?
Honestly, it was mixed because at the time, there was some relief in it. After growing up, as I said before, my parents split up when I was 16, so that was tumultuous. But I was almost getting over it a little bit and ready to have answers to who I was.
And so you decided, I'm going to jump a little bit because we don't have a whole lot of time to talk about this, and you put this in a whole full-length film. But you sort of take your viewers in your documentary through, if you will, the peeling back of the onion of, your family dynamic and how this could go on. So I want to jump straight to what you call the anatomy, I think you call it the anatomy of denial, or this power of denial. Talk about that as you begin to explore how this could happen.
Yeah, because I think a lot of it is, it's not as simple as that people lie to each other. I think people lie to themselves first a lot of times. They can convince themselves to believe what they want to believe and create their own realities. And I think that was a big piece of what was happening in my family. So these family secrets came to define who I was and my identity. And I got to a certain point where I realized until I really uncovered those family secrets and started to understand that denial, I wasn't going to be able to fully integrate my own identities.
Well, when you found out that your biological father not only was a Black man, but someone different than the man who had raised you your whole life, did you get the opportunity to get to know him, to confront him, if you will?
Yeah, I mean, he was a kind of a family friend, so to say, and so he was around a bit. And so I did have some time to explore more of a relationship with him, and a lot of that is dealt with in the film.
So tell me, what difference did it make in your mind, Lacey, whether you were all white and Jewish or biracial and Jewish?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, I think for me, a lot of it is about, this idea of what makes up your identity. Is it how you see yourself or also how other people see you? And so for me, there was always this confusion and question about how other people saw me and my difference. And I think that there was a lot of belonging that came for me about finding out that I was biracial and identifying as being Black.
And when you finally found out, when your mother confirmed that you are in fact biracial, what was your prevailing emotion? Were you angry, relieved? What was it?
At the time I was relieved. I think it was more complex going forward because I lived for a long time, like a decade, in what I consider to be a racial closet, where I kind of out in the world with my friends identified as being Black, but then back at home, I continued for another decade to identify still kind of as I was raised and didn't really talk about it with my extended family at all. So part of what this film covers is that process of how do you uncover family secrets? What's the power of telling the truth? How do you accept it? And then how to move forward in your life.
You could have gone through this journey and perhaps written a thesis, done an academic work on this, but you made a film and it's out there. Why did you want to do this film briefly? And what do you want people to take away?
I mean, pretty much what I just said is, for me, it was really about modeling the process of why difficult conversations are important to have, and they can be really powerful. So rather than just talking about it, I felt like I had to do it first. I had to walk the walk before I could talk the talk. And that's really why doing a documentary film where I actually go through what I would suggest others do. And so with the film, I really hope that when other people watch it, can be a tool for them in terms of helping them move past difficult conversations that they need to have in their own life and deal with their own family secrets and dual identity.
Yeah, fascinating story and very insightful way to put it down on film. It's called Little White Lie. Lacey Schwartz, so nice to meet you. Wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.
If you want more information on the film, you can go to littlewhiteliethefilm.com. Also, look for it on PBS in 2015.